Food bloggers, hi, how are you today? Thank you so much for tuning in to the Eat Blog Talk podcast. This is the place for food bloggers to get information and inspiration to accelerate your blog's growth and ultimately help you to achieve your freedom, whether that's financial, personal, or professional. I'm Megan Porta. I have been a food blogger for 13 years, so I understand how isolating food blogging can be. I'm on a mission to motivate, inspire, and most importantly, let each and every food blogger, including you, know that you are heard and supported. Whether you are preparing to take time off from your business or not, this episode is going to be super helpful for you because automating, delegating, and streamlining your business is super powerful. Natasha Zo from natashazo.com joins me in this interview. One of her main messages is that when you streamline your business, you create you. I absolutely love that line. It's really hard for a lot of us to delegate because we feel like we can do it better than anyone else. So getting over that is step one. And then doing the delegating and opening up time for you to create you is the next step. In the episode, Natasha talks about how to hire and create the team that you want, how to treat your team really well and support them and nurture them so that they stick around. She also talks through some common issues that you might face when you first start delegating and some tips for you to get going now. This episode is gold. It is number 575, sponsored by RankIQ. Eat Blog Talk is thrilled to unveil the Eat Blog Talk Accountability Group, an exclusive community made for food bloggers who crave accountability, focus, and connection. We understand that not everyone is ready to dive into the Mini Minds group or the Masterminds program. That is why we've crafted this special offering for bloggers like you who want that extra push toward their aspirations but aren't yet able to make the financial or time commitment. Here's what the Eat Blog Talk Accountability Group has in store for you for this low introductory price of $34 a month. This ongoing membership has its own private Slack channel. You will gain access to a dedicated channel facilitated by the community manager at Eat Blog Talk, Taryn Soley, for questions, insights, and collaboration. You will get weekly accountability check-ins so you can stay focused and motivated with those weekly check-ins in Slack to track and achieve your goals confidently. You will have access to productivity focus sessions. Join these optional live Zoom sessions twice a week to boost your productivity by working alongside your peers and tapping into that collective energy. And you will get monthly group Zoom calls, replacing the former Clubhouse chats. Join these calls to connect, discuss current topics, share experiences, and celebrate achievements. Those calls will be hosted by me, Megan Porta, and I can't wait to see some of you there. If this sounds intriguing, head over to eatblogtalk.com/focus to sign up today. eatblogtalk.com/focus. Natasha Zo is a former journalist from Siberia running her international PR and visibility agency. As a PR agent, she's helped authors launch #1 bestselling books, booked national TV, and landed clients on the world's top podcasts and magazine covers. Leading up to this, she has lived on 3 different continents, volunteered in Central America, managed a high-performing marketing team in Asia, and taught public speaking to refugee teenagers. She is on a mission to see less clickbait and more empowering knowledge in the media. Natasha, how is it going today?
Hi, Megan. It's so good to be here talking to you.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you about automating, delegating, streamlining. Oh, this is like one of my favorite topics ever. I think it's so important for busy entrepreneurs to know all the stuff about this. Let's do it. But first, do you have a fun fact to share with us?
Fun fact, nothing to do with my business or anything else, is several years ago, I ran a marathon in Cambodia, and it's not just a marathon running, is Cambodia, which means you start at 4 a.m. in the morning and you start in the dark, and we run around this Angkor Wat temple, which I never seen before. And then you finish off your marathon at 10 a.m. in the morning or something like this. And then you get to see the sunrise over the temple. This is amazing. So that's...
Oh, wow. Okay, that painted such a beautiful picture. I love that. I love that you start in the dark too.
Yeah, it was so It's so special. It's like, well, when you can feel the presence of the ancient site before you can even see it. I never experienced
Wow.
anything like this ever in my life because, as a tourist, you just come and you like check out
Yeah.
the spots. That was really special.
Wow. And I suppose that takes away the pain of running.
It distracts your mind,
Yeah.
certainly.
Distraction. That's a good word for it. Yes. Well, so cool. I love that. Do you do other marathons as well?
So we're going to get into it. I was about to train for my second marathon. I was like, okay, that's about the time. Let's do another one. I start training. And then 2 weeks into training, I'm like, oh, I'm pregnant. I
Oh,
guess I'm not going to do
wow.
the marathon anymore.
Oh, wow. Okay. And I think we'll get into that part of the story, right? In a little
Yes.
bit.
Yes,
Okay,
we'll
cool.
do.
I love that fun fact. So cool. So, why don't you start, Natasha, by just giving us a little bit of a background on your business?
Of course. Yeah. I have a PR agency. I work with a lot of online entrepreneurs, people who build personal brands, people who, whose business is basically relies on their own presence online and their reputation. So we help authors, book authors, course authors to get on podcast, on radio, TV, magazine covers, and I've been doing it for 7 years now. I have a wonderful team of powerhouse women that have been with me for several years, and this is a mission to support the businesses and entrepreneurs like that I believe, whose message I believe in, to help them to get more reach, more audience, better recognition.
How did you start your business? What motivated you to start?
It is a story. Let's do it. So I had a normal job. My normal job was not so normal. My normal job was in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, in the head office of this company, personal development company called Mind Valley. And then, at some point, I was like, okay, it's time to grow, time to explore something on my own. This is around me was very entrepreneurial culture. People were doing startups, starting businesses. And I'm like, what can I do? I don't know. I haven't grew up around entrepreneurial culture in my childhood. So I knew that I wanted to do something, but I was not sure what. So I gave myself time to experiment. And I wrote some articles about that, about A/B testing my career. I came up with few options. Okay, maybe I can maybe I can continue working in marketing. Maybe I can run some events. Maybe art is a passion, right? So maybe I can do something in art. Maybe I can pursue more of the copywriter side of passion. And I just got some consulting gigs for myself to kind of cover the bills. And I was really intentional about the fact that all the rest of the time is going to go into experimentation, and I don't need to make money on all the rest of the projects that I was doing. Like I was running a community event for creative community. I was testing myself as a writer. I was then the art theory died out really quickly. I was like, okay, yeah, I enjoy painting on the weekends, but I cannot possibly turn it into a career. So that was a really interesting moment because, rather than diving straight into some business and then realizing, that doesn't work for me, after I already put some time and effort and maybe even money investment on the line there, I gave myself time. And then in this year of experimentation, I met this couple. They were traveling the world, living off the sailboat, making a documentary. And I'm like, oh, I want to tell their story. I want to write about them. And I'm like, and I found a few ways to publish about them, to create a story, to create articles about them on different websites and different platforms. Got a lot of attractions around it. And I'm like, oh, I actually want to be doing it more. That I don't seem to get bored of this. Let's see who else I can support. What are the other, entrepreneurs whose stories I can tell. And that fact that, that I found something that I can be doing consistently and repeatedly and not get bored of it. I'm like, okay, that's it. This is where I'm gonna build. This is what I'm gonna build my business around. This is, at first I didn't even think about it. This is this is going to be a PR agency. It kind of went really gradually. I said, okay, I can spend my whole day doing it, and I can spend my whole week doing it, and I don't get bored about it, and it's exciting, and there is so much to learn. And there is, luckily I had people who hired me very early on to give me an opportunity to also learn on the work. And then I was getting results. I was learning very quickly. I was learning what actually helps entrepreneurs and personal brands in terms of PR, what kind of tactics are working. Then I had, at the moment when I had more requests that I could possibly fit into my own working hours, I started thinking about hiring some assistants for myself, educating those assistants, etc., etc. A few years down the line, I found myself saying, "Hey, I have a PR agency." So yes,
Nice.
I have a PR
that's such a
agency.
great story. I love that. I love how you went into it with the mindset of experimentation and you just started doing things that you loved and you saw what stuck and then you just kind of went from there. And something you were passionate about. So you asked the question, whose story can I tell? And that was something that you really, it seemed like you got lit up about. Like that was something that really inspired you, right? Like telling other people's stories.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, my background is journalism, and I've been a journalist for several years before I even had a marketing job at Mind Valley. And that's initial passion, telling the stories, finding people who inspire me. And this is my core inspiration. This is the thing that makes me tick. People who are crazy passionate about something.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I can never really do that on a daily basis. That's too much. Yeah. But I'm really interested to, first of all, explore it for a day or two or a month or so and kind of, to step into your world. But also I'm really passionate about seeing your passion and seeing the spark in your eyes about that particular topic. And I love that. And I want the world to see more of that, more of the passion in your eyes. I want people to see that passionate individuals, people who are so dedicated to one thing, one career, one service. That's very beautiful for me.
Yeah, it's like you get the best of all worlds. You get the thing that lights you up, hearing other people's stories, but you also get a little like front row seat to other people's lives for a bit too.
Absolutely.
So cool.
I choose the things that interest me, and I choose the people that inspire me, and I get to learn from all of them. I very much focus on working as a personal development industry, conscious entrepreneur. So I always get to learn about, the better relating, conscious parenting, intimacy techniques, breath work, meditation, so much.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So I pretty much created myself like a on the go nonstop university.
Yeah, no, the way you created your business is really inspiring in itself. I love this. And then you talked earlier a little bit about, your maternity leave. You alluded to that. So I know that when you started going on your maternity leave, that really helped you to start streamlining your business. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
So I already had a team at that time. And maybe if we want to talk about, just delegating and automating the business, that would be a better point to start with, of kind of a first hire. And then we can also talk about taking it to the next level when I completely went off the business for several months when I had a baby. So those first hires were a huge lesson for me. And I'm really proud of my team by now. I have 5 people on the team. 4 of them have been with me for over 3 years now, and people just don't leave. We have a very kind of supportive environment, a very tight team that supports each other. But, of course, it didn't really just came about. And I really love looking backwards at how it happened. And I had a bad hiring experiences. But what I think happens is people would hire someone and that would go wrong, or there wouldn't be any rapport, there wouldn't be any understanding, it wouldn't be easy, and then people are like, oh no, hiring doesn't work. it's not hiring that
Yeah.
doesn't work. It's not like just the whole concept of, getting people in your business. It
Right.
doesn't work. It's like it didn't work between you and that particular person. Or maybe you haven't yet built a skill of hiring. That's also very important because delegation, just like anything else in business, right? Delegation is a skill, but also like anything else in business is also a little bit of an opportunity for personal growth, right? Because why is it hard to delegate? Like quite often we're like, the very common feeling that I see in people is like, because no one is going to do it better than me. Right? There is this ego thing going on. Like it's so common. It's like, I mean, don't even think business. Think, I don't know. Think asking, if your husband is not the one that cooks all the time, like asking your husband to make a dinner, right? And then you come and he used like a different knife to cut the potatoes. And you're like, no, but that knife is so much better. Like this is so sharper. It's like, let me fix it all for you. Yeah, and then you're there.
Right. Let me be controlling and do everything for you.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like to this day, there is so much moments when I have to like stop myself, both in personal life and in business. So yeah, the relaxing is a huge point of delegation. First you gotta make sure that your result is the result that you expect is very clear there. So whenever I hire anyone, whenever I hired for my team, I started with writing down a document, of like, this is a list of your tasks. And I make sure to have it written down. So this is something that both of us can refer to. So, it's not just in passing by in a conversation, it's a firm and agreed. But then another really important thing is like, okay, you give a person a task. Have them kind of reiterate to you, what did they understand from it? All right. Because I think I'm going to be using husband example a lot in this conversation because that's something that a lot of us can relate to. Like, what I imagine as a clean house, for example, is a very different thing than what my husband imagines as a clean house.
Right.
We have a really different understandings there. And it's the same thing with anything that you want to accomplish in the team, in a company. What you, for example, I don't know, you want to automate creating captions for social media, right? What you imagine is like a quality copywriting is a very different from what someone else would imagine. So it's writing down the task as specific as you need it to be, and then having person tell it back to you. Hey, what did you understand from it? What do you think I expect from you? Tell it back to me, because it's also there happens a lot. You give someone a task and they're like, yeah, I understand. And then, when the thing is delivered, you're like, okay, it was a complete waste of time, right? So that's preventable. All right. This is preventable. And in fact, whenever I hire anyone, this is something that I make sure to schedule their weekly one-on-ones, where it's much more about, it's not that much about tracking their results, but it's an education time. And it's a time where we make sure that we have a common ground, we have a common understanding of where we go in, what is the result that we're achieving, what's considered a good result, is what are the elements that I look at, what is the elements that our client gonna look at, etc., etc. So it's kind of from the moment I hire anyone, this is a continuous thing that we do. Every Monday we have a individual call with everyone on the team to talk about what was done last week, what were the challenges they are facing, and they even years into working together, we still come across different aspects of of this task or that task that we understand, like, okay, no, this is, you see it this way. No, this is not what I actually expect. This is not what I actually mean. This is not what our clients care for, etc. So it's really important there. This kind of culture of a dialogue. So it's, it's not like, oh my God, you're done wrong. Hiring doesn't work, but it's, but there is,
you have to foster it.
Yeah. Always like small iterations.
I think it's for this weekly one-on-one that you're talking about, I think it's so important that we do this, but it's also so easy to set it on the back burner. Like, oh, everything's going fine. I don't need to check in. Do you have thoughts about that? Like, how important do you think it is to regularly check in with your team? And do you do it individually or do you do it as a group?
We do individual calls every Monday for years, one-on-one. I used to do it myself. And then, that's a part of a story. When I went on maternity leave, like one layer that was created in my team is the team manager, someone who I saw could step up to that. And that's a whole separate conversation. But
right. No, I like that.
Currently, she takes 80% of those calls. And then to your question, we also do a team check-in. We used to do a team check-in every Tuesday. We now scaled it down a little bit to every other Tuesday. I also find it really important for everyone to check in and to connect with each other. In our case, most of the people in the team do the same kind of job. They just, they are account managers doing it for different clients. And it's if I treat one-on-ones more like, let's drill down and, if you are not progressing, let me help you. Let me give you some ideas. Let me help you to see it in a different angle. Team calls connect, understand where everyone is at, because we've been together through so many, as well, crises, internal and external. It's kind of bonded us as a team very much to having been through the COVID and everything after that. But also that's a little bit of a bonding, but also it's the exchange of, best practices among each other.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. I love how it seems like you've created just a really supportive and nurturing team, and checking in regularly kind of fosters all of that. And that is such a good example for us because I feel like for food creators, food bloggers, it's so easy to just get caught up in what we're passionate about, which is usually cooking and creating. Mm-hmm. And then we get to the point where we hire a team and it's like, oh, I don't really want to manage these people. So then what you said earlier, it's like, oh, I'm really bad at being a manager. I'm really bad at hiring. I'm really like, we go to that default, like as a crutch, like, oh, I'm really bad at it, so I'm just going to take it back. And then we take back control. And it's like this vicious cycle.
Yeah, it's so liberating to get over this initial, oh, I'm going to do it better than them.
So true.
Yeah, then you actually get to focus on the things that you love.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is so true. When you find those right people who just fit the role well, and when you figure out how to manage and delegate effectively, it is so liberating. I remember I started outsourcing writing this year for the first time in 14 years. And it took so much off my plate. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, I could start a whole other business right now. I didn't know what to do with my time. It was amazing.
Yeah. Well, the way I see it is especially now since the maternity leave, and my baby is 20 months right now. So it's still kind of, I'm half in, half out. So the way I see it is, the business, there is a portion of the business that already kind of runs. I don't know if you have to use the word automated, because usually people imagine, some savvy tech and so on. When you say automated, no, it's automated through the, clear distributions of roles in the team. And then the role that I see for myself in a company, okay, now I get to innovate. Now I get to think of, what other products we're going to offer, what I get to spend time, basically whatever is founders always have an idea of what is going to be the next cool thing. Right.
Yes.
And I haven't yet gotten to this point. I know there are some founders as well who know how to hire for basically innovation and research and development kind of things. In my case, this is my role at the moment, is to think of what do I think is the next cool direction and start building the pieces around that. All right. So it's almost like I see there is kind of a solid structure going on over there. And here I am, doing another round of experimentation, right? Building another sandcastle, seeing what sticks. And I'm like, okay, this was a good model. Now I can take it back to the team, build some processes, maybe hire some other people around it. And, now my core structure is bigger.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it just keeps growing and growing. So, okay. So you have this amazing team that you fostered and supported and just loved on, it sounds like. How does that play into your maternity leave Because I know you wanted to take some time off, right? So you had to do
Mhm.
probably a little bit of extra planning and thinking. How did
There
all
was a
of that
lot
go?
of extra planning.
Yeah.
There is a lot of extra planning. One thing I found out when I was like, okay, I want to be off, like off for at least,
Right.
at the very least, like 1 month before birth and 3 months after. And that was like my bare minimum where I didn't want to get involved into anything. Like, okay, so I started it out very simple. I just sat out with my team manager, wrote down, and for a couple of weeks, I literally, as I was working on my laptop, whatever I was doing, I took a side note and I'm like, writing emails.
Mm,
Next one, giving feedback to the team about their writing. Next one, scheduling social media post. Next one, I'm on a call with client. Next one, I'm talking to some potential client that I just got introduced to. So I wrote everything down.
yeah.
And then one thing that we discovered there is it was nearly impossible to find one person who was going to kind of have all the skills combination, not because I'm some sort of a unique genius and so on, but we all have our different combinations of skills, right? You have cooking and writing, right? This is and probably some other things which are uniquely you. So we all have our different combinations of skill, and we quickly gave up the idea of just finding one person who's going to replace me in all of it. We broke it down, and at the end, some of the tasks were distributed among the team. So we kind of already knew the team, and we looked at who's going to be better at some of the tasks. For something like, for example, like taking the incoming calls from potential clients, we had to hire a whole new person. So we hire kind of like a salesperson, sales rep, and I spent some time training them. We hired a copywriter to cover for my writing. So we ended up distributing actually among 5 people. So, but that took first like writing it down, breaking it in, and then each task that was on that list, I had to match up with some name of like, okay, whose place does it go to and for what period of time? And then I had to go back into, the process that we just talked about. This is written down, your tasks. This is what, let's talk it back to me. What do you think entails? Okay, that's what I actually do. Sit down, shadow me, look at how I do it. So,
hello, food bloggers. Let's take a quick break to chat about an easy new way to earn some extra cash. I feel like everyone wants some extra revenue right now, right? The RankIQ affiliate program is the top paying SEO affiliate program in existence. You will receive $100 for every person you refer to RankIQ. With monthly achievement bonuses that are easy to reach, you can get up to $225 per referral. Here are the month's bonuses. If you get 5 referrals, you get a $500 bonus. 10 referrals equals an additional $500 bonus, and 20 referrals brings you an additional $1,500 bonus. Wow. Simply sign up to be an affiliate at rankiq.com and share your link in your email newsletter and on social media and watch the dollars roll in. Head to rankiq.com today to get started. Now back to the episode. I always tell people to kind of log their time if they're ever wanting to take time off, or if they're just wanting to kind of get clarity on what the heck do I spend my time on? Because I think we all get to that point where we're like, oh my gosh, I just had this crazy busy week. I'm so overwhelmed and so overworked. I don't even know what I did this week. So just write. The simple act of writing down exactly what you do, I think, is so powerful.
Yes, but I don't think I ever really got so detailed with that. Only the situation of kind of planning to be completely absent for 4 months. That was the only situation that forced me to do that.
Right. You were highly motivated because you wanted to take time off.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm like here saying like, oh, you're not the smartest person in the room. There are people who can do it better than you. Da, da, da. But when it comes to that, I'm like, that's my business. Let me do it. I want it. I know how it's done.
I know, but there's something about taking time off, especially around maternity leave when there's a precious baby involved, that really motivates you to Like I want to set everything down. I'm like that with vacations in the summer. I don't want to work. I just don't. I want to be present with my family. My boys are getting older. I just want this time. And that motivates me so highly. I do exactly what you do. I'm like, okay, who can do this? Who can do this? Who can do this? Okay, take it. I'm so much better now. Do you feel like you get better over time? Like at first, it's really hard to release control. And then after a while, it's like, I don't really care.
Yes, this spring, so baby was about maybe 17, 18 months, about a year and a half. Another thing about my family, we travel a lot. My husband is an entrepreneur. He like speaks all around the world and so on. I also like connect a lot with different people around the world. So we travel a lot, and not just for vacation, for kind of semi-business, semi-vacation. And I remember preparing for that trip to Latin America for 2 months. And I remember kind of like just listing the number of people who help me make my life easier. I had an assistant. My husband has an assistant. I had like a sleep coach for my daughter. I had a nanny. I had a cleaner. I had a team manager. I had someone who's helping me with social media and not like posting, but more like strategy wise. And I had a business coach. So it's like, what is it, 7, 8 people? And that's not even including my actual team, And I'm like, whoa, how did I get from the, hiring a few years back from, hiring someone for like part-time, a few hours a day to support, to just take off one of my clients so I can take another client to my agency, to like having 8 people who are not even in my team, but they're like supporting the lifestyle, like definitely get better at it. And I definitely feel like, it opens up more space. It opens up more space in what you can achieve. Like there is a little bit of a mind twist around this, right? So I'm often thinking about my parents, right? And how hiring and, getting help was really not a part of a culture where I grew up. People kind of take pride in like, what do you mean someone gonna like come take care of your daughter? What do you mean someone gonna come help you to, to wash the carpets, wash the floor and so on? Like people took pride in doing everything themselves.
Yes.
And I'm really, and I'm also really proud of my parents for everything that they did. I'm grateful for them for everything they did for me. But I'm also thinking, also they had a regular jobs. They were not responsible for, let's say, incomes of like 5 households as I am. And just by that, I see the responsibility, and that kind of like allows me in my head, that helps me to allow myself like, okay, it's fine that I get more help. It's fine that once a week someone comes to help me to, to clean my apartment, because, alongside with more, when I get more help, I get to also give more of, what's my actual gift back into the world, right? Yeah. It gets, I kind of build the whole system to, make it more efficient, bringing what I'm best at into the world. All right. And I'm not best at washing dishes. Okay?
Yeah. Not me either. I'll claim that one too. I love this. Okay. So I feel like your exercise of writing down all the people who make your life easier is so powerful, and excluding your team. So not people you pay, but just people, well, maybe like your coach and things like that.
Yeah, they're also people I pay, but yeah, I see them like, like I hire them for a specific purpose because I see a particular gap in whatever I need to achieve. And like, okay, so that's this person going to help me solve that gap. So that for me, that all of this falls into the same list. Both my business coach and the cleaner and the every person on my team is like, they help me to build this vision that I have more efficiently.
And by doing that, you're able to get clarity on what you offer to the world, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the clarity on what I want to offer came first.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. It's just, as I told you about this experimentation period, I wanted to tell the people stories. So then, further deeper I go into it, more possibilities I see to do it, more kind of demand I see for it. I see, more ways I can help people. So I go deeper in it. And yeah, there is, I can be helping people doing it myself, but I can definitely reach more and support more entrepreneurs having an agency.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things that can come out of just asking yourself that question, like who helps me, who makes my life easier. It just opens up the door for for you to give to others. And
Yeah.
there's so much power there. I love that. I'm going to do that today.
Beautiful.
So when you took your maternity leave, I know that social media is something that entrepreneurs are very closely tied to, and they tend to hold on to really tightly for client work and brand work and sponsored work. And I don't know, we just feel like closely tied to our social media accounts.
Yes.
How did you handle that portion of it?
I was super Instagram junkie. I go back to the days before my daughter was born, and I was on the stories every day.
Yeah.
Just posting and posting and posting. Then it gone to a year probably of a complete silence, and then maybe a year into I start somehow stepping back in, and then but overall it was maybe an 18-month of being absent from social media. So that was a big pause. And that was also really interesting insight because I didn't, obviously social media, that's me, my face, my life. So when I did the exercise of writing down all the tasks, this is the one that no one could take over. Right? No one could take over. No one could, instead, I didn't want to just switch to kind of forward posting generic things. I wanted to, if I'm going to do social media, I gotta do it about me and about my life, right? And about my insights. So that was not a portion that I thought was possible to really switch. So I chose to take pause. And then there are a few things there. First of all, is gaining the clients, all right? Maintaining the agency afloat. And that was a little bit scary, I'll be honest, because I was totally hooked on the idea that social media, that's what brings me clients. And I'm like, okay, I have 5 people to pay every month or whatever it is. And I really didn't want to be like, okay, I'm going to be a mom, so you guys don't have a job anymore. I felt a lot of responsibility to my team and to everything that we've done together. So I wanted to kind of do good to them and also, kind of for them to maintain an agency running. And that's something I actually discovered through the maternity leave, is that most of my clients, I'm also I've been in this world for a long time. I discovered that, yes, there is a portion of people getting reminded about my work and people getting, kind of reacquainted with it through the social media. But in our case, a lot of clients come from one-on-one, from referrals, from network that I built over the years. And then I was kind of thinking about it, and I realized that even if I were to continue, even if I were to not come back to social media, every now and then there would be every couple times a month, there would be a message dropping into my WhatsApp saying from someone who I know saying, hey, Natasha, I know this person, they're in need of PR, can you help them? It happens kind of thanks to the network that I built over the years. And in my case, it's a lot of offline networking. But some people do the online networking, some people do offline networking, referrals, and so on. And that kind of became a big portion of one of the concepts that I teach right now to my clients. It's called the 5 levels of visibility. And it's about building the foundations first, where every expert, every person in the expert economy, coach, consultant, etc., they first rely on their network before they start selling to strangers. Right. So if you got this portion of selling to the network or talking to the network really closely, if you got this portion set up, it's also going to be much easier to then convert people online who never heard about you. Does this make sense?
Yes. No, I love that.
I want to give an example of my therapist. He's not a public person, right? He's not online. He doesn't have a blog. He doesn't have social media or anything. Yet he still keeps on increasing the prices on me all the time. Why? Yeah. Because there is demand, because just from the referral, just from people going to his session and attending it and saying and recommending it to each other, he has demand. So, for anyone who's very hooked on social media, I'm this is very important to build that referral bit first. That is it online networking? Is it offline networking? That's your style and that's your choice, whatever is more comfortable for you. But that's really crucial, and that's also what gives you the
credibility
stories,
and the
case studies, credibility to then sell online, right? So I don't believe that selling online is like, the number one stepping stone, as this a referral based business is number one stepping stone. After which, it's much easier to build the system of selling online.
Yeah. That's such a great reminder just to focus on just showing up and delivering value and serving people. And that really does pay off. When you do a good job at that, I feel like the word of mouth and the networking
The word of mouth,
yeah, it
yes.
just like takes care of your business as opposed to
Yes.
selling to people that you don't know.
Yeah, it's always a question. It's always a question. Like the word of mouth about kind of this challenges that is, it's not something that you can control of, right?
Sure.
You are not sure if it's going to be enough volumes, etc. So I had a lot of referrals in the last 2 months and none in the previous 4. Right.
It's not consistent.
So it's not consistent. Suddenly, right now, their demand from the word of mouth is a lot, and it's like becoming really hard for my team to handle. But then in maybe January, February, we're a little bit worried. We're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And there's always that element. So yeah, but you're right. The part of creating consistent value and delivering, but also deliberately networking with people in your industry, online and offline, this is a portion that you can control. All right. Yeah. Building relationship with people online and offline. Like I go to this event every year for the last 7 years, and like there's a lot of entrepreneurs, people in personal growth, etc. And I know that just the relationship I built from there is gonna last. It's gonna sustain my business for many years. Like I can quit social media.
Yeah. So after your 18-month hiatus,
yes,
when you came back, what were your thoughts? How did you feel? How are things going on Instagram?
Oh my God. Everything is different.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, everything has changed. Kind of need to figure it out all from scratch. So I challenged myself to do 100 reels.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I came back with a lot of motivation and a lot of inspiration to be working on business again, and that's the best place to start it from. So I was like, okay, well, let's figure out this Instagram stuff once again and see how things are going here. So I just paid it off with time first. So I did actual 100 reels. That was a lot as a new mom.
Wow, that's impressive.
There was a lot as a new mom, but it was a great learning possibilities. And after that, I started to see from pretty much losing followers from every new post that I do to now seeing followers grow, to now see my posts showing to new people. I had like a post get to like over 500,000 views and 1,000 followers just from that one post. So like basically, yeah, I guess this is a little bit of a theme, right? Experimentation is how I approach things. So like, okay, I want to figure out Instagram again. What am I going to do? I'm going to experiment. And I'm going to give myself a testing ground of the 100 reels to test different hypotheses and to conclude, to make some conclusions. So that was really kind of a scientific approach there.
Yeah, no, I love that. So the lesson there is that you can take a long break and come back and you're still fine. Your business is running. I think we get so afraid to take breaks from social media, but it really can't. You can do it.
Yes, I think there is important, the bit of the network is important, right? If social media is the only place that you rely on, I don't know how that would really fly, all right? Because it all worked out at the end. In my case, thanks to the network and thanks to also like a little bit of a brand that I built myself, writing for different publications. Like I write for Entrepreneur and I write for some other magazines. So, and I interview on podcasts. So my name is out there, even when I'm not popping out people's feed every day.
Sure.
But yeah, there are other ways.
Yeah.
I guess we can conclude that there are other ways other than social media. And yeah, if you become enslaved to it, you're like, I have to post, and it's not that fun anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good. Okay, so talking about the whole topic of delegating, which is huge for food bloggers, like definitely start delegating and just do it. Are there some like issues that we might run into, do you foresee, once we start doing it?
Once you start delegating, so the issues that I see people run into the most is that, getting disappointing in delegating altogether, all right? Getting some frustration with, like, I do it better
Yeah.
kind of a situation, all right? Over controlling is also a thing, right? It can be a personality trait, but it also doesn't have to really lock you in, right? When you give a task and then you come back and you like check in, and then you come back and you give something more, and then you're like, but I also want this done, and I also want this happening at the same time. No, one person. Like, you start with one person, one task. Learn the process. See if that works. See if they can, and task really simple, arrange these videos or whatever. Arrange this cooking videos, make roll cuts on those cooking videos or something like this, right? And then writing the guides for whatever it is, like how you want it to look like. Yeah. Right? Not the process, but the outcome. How do I want the outcome to look like? Right? What is the good video for the food blog? What does it look like? What is the timing on it? What is the sort of cuts that we use there? What is the sort of a transition? How much do we show the cooking process versus the talking head, etc., etc., etc. Right? What is the example to follow? And then, of course, quite fun topic that we haven't even touched on is hiring process altogether and finding those people.
That can be overwhelming in itself.
That can be, because that's also like a task on its own, right? It's also like a piece of a job, or to write those tasks, to publish those job positions somewhere, to then select people, to interview them, etc. So that also can be daunting, and that you can also be. I can totally see people just pushing it to the back of the burner list, right? And be like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah. Especially if you haven't done it before. It's like you're resistant because you think that you're going to do it better than them. You're also resistant because it's like a whole extra thing in your to-do list, and you also haven't done it ever before. So finding the people to trust, it's a big question as well.
Yeah. And then if somebody's like, okay, this sounds great, Natasha. Yes, I want to delegate. Yes, I want more time. Yes, I want a streamlined business. But where do I start? Is it just as simple as finding that one thing and then, going through the whole hiring process and just focusing on one simple thing? Or where do we start with it?
You'll have to start by finding one person that you're comfortable with having in your team. Right. And what I would really look for is what are the kind of, rather than necessarily the skills, what are the kind of qualities that you look for? So, like, for example, I always look for people who are very self-motivated and self-driven. And that's super important thing for me. I teach all the skills that we do. Of course, they need to be kind of fluent in writing and so on. But then after that, I teach, how do we talk to clients? How do we talk to media, etc. So I teach that. But the self-motivation is like one thing that I'm really looking for, like proactive approach, because I don't want to be chasing people. I want to hire people who chase me. That's one thing that I do when I'm hiring, even in that job application. I would put something really specific. I would say, reply to this application to this email and make this subject line. Half people are not going to do that. Half people are going to overlook that and just gonna hit reply and just gonna write it some generic thing, and they would like miss that line of like how I want it to be replied, right? So that's already a test, to those who didn't really follow the process. And then I would be like, okay, so for example, okay, maybe I want to talk to you. You schedule the interview. Here's my calendar link. You find a way to do it. So then I also check, how urgent it is for them, how motivated they are, how proactive they are. I don't want to be working around them and saying like, oh, here are the times, let's, tell me when you're available and so on. I give the initiative, I leave the ball in their field to be making it happen, basically. Even through the recruitment process, I'm like, okay, through this recruitment process, can you chase me? Yeah. Very much. I designed the process in the way. Yeah. So if you're about to start, that's a process that you'll have to go through.
Yeah, I like that you bake into the hiring process a little test. Like, are you going to go to a few lengths to get the job, right?
And it's easy. That's not like a big task. Like,
right.
really write this subject line. Send an email to this email to this address and write, this is the subject line that I want to. And it's easy for me to filter. There is a reason for it. It's not just coming up with some random things.
Yeah.
And I test how people are. It's and following written tasks.
Yes. Oh, love that. Is there anything we've forgotten, Natasha? This is I feel like we could go on and on and on about so many things. But is there anything that you want to be sure we mention before we get to I know you have a freebie I want to talk about, but anything before we get to that?
Well, there is a lot of freedom in automating your business. And, I know we started the business because we love doing what we do. Hopefully that's a reason we take the whole leap of entrepreneurship. But what I want to say is that on the other side of building a team and automating, there is more of doing what you love rather than less, because each business has an aspect that you would love to skip doing. Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a maternity leave that
it does not, no.
that propels you to start doing this. You can do this now, today, just as a means to get to those things that you love more. I think that's kind of your message.
The fact that I started doing it before my maternity leave allowed me to kind of toss it around so easily. I hired a team manager, promoted someone to be a team manager when I was not planning to get pregnant. And then I think kind of universe aligned. I think 3 months after I promoted her, I got pregnant. The universe was like, okay, you have more time now. Let's put it to some good use.
Yep. And once you find that freedom, once you feel it, it's so, I think you used the word liberating before. It's so liberating. It's almost like, okay, now what can I do? It's like this never-ending process of finding tasks to delegate and streamlining even more and more. I love that feeling of like, okay, a year ago I felt like I was streamlined, but now I'm really streamlined.
Creating new. Streamlining. Once you're done streamlining, you get to create new.
Oh, yes. I'm writing that down. Done streamlining. Yep. I love that. Okay. This has been so great. Thank you so much, Natasha.
Thank you.
Awesome conversation. I know you have a freebie, so why don't you tell us about that to offer?
So freebie is something that we really briefly touched on, how I was talking about generating clients while not using social media, and about how I teach a little bit right now about all levels of visibility and how to be making your business work at each and every level. There are a total of 5 levels of visibility that I teach, which goes from inner circle, where you, like my therapist, just making business from referrals, to a household name where you're pretty much like a Tony Robbins rocking the stage. So it's very useful to grow your business. It's very useful to look into which level are you at right now. And for each level, there are tools which are applicable to that level. So to learn about the 5 levels of visibility concept, you can go to my Instagram and you can just DM me the word level 1. I think you just DM me the word level 1 in one word, level 1 with a number. And then we'll send you a little guide on 5 levels of visibility, and we'll send you assessment so you can self-assess where you are right now. And then as a result, you'll see some replies of, okay, what are the strategies that you need to take with this level in order to grow to the next level.
Awesome. Yes, I hope people take you up on that. That sounds super helpful and valuable. Again, thanks so much for being here. Do you have a favorite quote or words of inspiration to end on, Natasha?
It's kind of aligns to what we talked about. Yeah. This is a quote I've been very much living by. It's a first rule of leadership: everything is your fault. So even when you do hire and delegate and automate, when things is not working, when the person that you hired is wrong, when they messed it up, unfortunately, you're the business owner, you're the person who put them in that role. It is your fault, but it also means that it is a possibility for you to fix it. So you take this full ownership of whatever you create.
Oof, I love that. Such a great way to end. Super powerful. We'll put together a show notes page for you, Natasha. If you want to peek at those, head to eatblogtalk.com/Natasha Zo. That's just ZO. tell everyone where they can find you.
Instagram, that's where I hang out nowadays. Natasha Zo, Natasha ZO _. Come there, say hi. I'm started on Threads as well a couple of weeks ago. Seems like a fun way to connect with people easily. So Instagram or Threads, that would be the best place.
Awesome. Thanks again, Natasha, for being here. And thank you for listening, food bloggers. I will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Eat Blog Talk. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you posted it to your social media feed and stories. I will see you next time.